Hello, and welcome to this little supplemental tutorial. It's not exactly a part of my series, but it kind of is. I'm going to be using what I'm making in here with my character, but this isn't really part of the actual series unless you just want to follow along too. What I'm going to do is I'd like to create one more clothing item, but since I'm already done with the modeling section on the series, I just kind of doing a supplemental here, and I'll show you how to bring it in later. So, okay. Anyways, all that said, doing the same thing as I did before, except well, this time I'm going to box model. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create some goggles to put on our little character's face. So going to go ahead and add the mirror modifier to do clipping. Going to still in edit mode, I guess. Select everything, drag it over, and you can see these middle two points already glued together since I have the clipping on. And I think I might have that. Yeah, I have this this face. I don't need that face in there since it was already there when I created the mirror. It went ahead and kept it there. Anyways. Okay, back to solid view. So first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and scale this way down because it's going to be on his face, and we know that cube was a lot bigger than his face. So anyways, right now I'm working on the nose piece for the goggles. It's going to be kind of like aviator goggles, like the old, you know, like World War I pilots and the biplanes, things like that. You know, where they wore the leather caps and the big goggles. That's kind of what I'm working on. That you could kind of compare them to, I guess, welding goggles or something like that too. But anyways, so that's what I'm going to create here. Just creating the nose piece. Go ahead and make the bottom of it come forward a little bit, like it's going over the bridge of his nose. Okay. Scale this up a little bit. I'm not working from any reference here. I'm just going from my imagination. So if these don't look exactly like what I described earlier, no big deal. Go ahead and subdivide these. Actually, I want to do it twice. Okay. Drag that up some. Drag that down some. And I'll go ahead and add that subsurf modifier to it so I can see the smoothed version. Okay, I want that to be a little sharper, so you know what I'm going to undo, dragging those down. I'm just going to grab the top. You know what, I'm going to wait until I have the whole thing ready to go before I sharpen the edges. So now I want to go ahead and make the circular part of the goggle, the lens. And I just, still in edit mode, just put my 3D cursor right there, about where it needs to go for the eye to be centered. I'm going to add a circle, and I don't want 32 vertices, that's too many. I just want 12, and I want to fill it. And I'm going to hit OK, and it creates a big circle, really big. And it's going to connect it since the clipping is on in the mirror, so I'll go ahead and turn that off. Scale it down about where it needs to be. We'll say right there. Go ahead and turn that clipping back on. Go ahead and move this. And I want to make it to where it's a horizontal and vertical line rather than the diagonals like it had here. So just redo that. Okay. So now go ahead and edit the nose piece to fit a little better. And you know, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that those subdivisions that I did. Just gonna, I'll worry about that in a little while. Just merging the ones with the closest vertex. Okay. Now, let's see. I want to put them. Let's grab the circle. Control L. Move it down. And it has no depth at all, so I'm just going to go into the side view, move it, and then extrude it back to where it has about the same thickness as the nose piece. There we go. Now I want to get rid of this face and this face, and I want to merge these vertices together to the center of those. Oops, so I still had that one selected. There we go. Just those two. And the final two back there. Okay. Okay, we're kind of getting there. Still got a little ways to go yet. Just want to grab the whole thing, make it quite a bit bigger, and let's move it a little closer in. Okay. And I want to go ahead and rotate it some. Don't need those, I guess. Okay. Okay. Now, actually, let me get this looking the way I want before I rotate it back some. Just grab all of these guys, front and back. Go to side view so I can see what I'm doing. Extrude, but we're not going to go anywhere with it. We're going to scale it down a little bit. And now we're going to do the same thing. Extrude. Click out, scale it on the y-axis, scale it smaller, okay, and extrude one more time, scale it down just a little, scale it bigger on the x-axis, or excuse me, the y-axis, there we go. Okay, so now we kind of got some round, let's go ahead and scale it down some more. And scale it on the y-axis so we have some. Drag it forwards. And I want to grab these vertices in the middle, drag them out so it has more of a rounded look, like a glass lens. Go ahead and set smooth right there so I can see a little better. And I want to turn off the grid lines. Go to View, View Properties, Y-axis, X-axis, Grid Floor. That turns that all off so it's not in the way. Now, something you might notice right here, that black line. You might notice that sometimes when you're modeling. What that means is the normals are not correct on this model. So to fix that, just select everything, just hit A, selects everything, Control N, and it recalculates the normals outside. And there you go, fixed it right up. Piece of cake. Okay, now we got the basic goggle shape. I want to go ahead and, let's see, I guess these two guys right here, so they're on the side. Extrude them out so we can have the earpiece attached. Scale them down some. Scale them on the x-axis so it's a little flatter. Let's get a little further down. Okay. And extrude it again. Okay, and let's go one more time. Alright. And I want to put a hole in them, so I'm going to select the front and back of that. There we go. Extrude. Scale it down. Scale it on the x-axis a little smaller. Scale it down some more. Extrude it one more time. Scale it on the y-axis. And go ahead and delete those faces. Go inside and merge together the parts that have that are, you know, so we can fill the hole there. Just merge those together. And there we go. Okay. Alright, now we got the basic goggles, and like I said, I'll rotate the lenses here in a few seconds. What I'd like to add now is some padding around them, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to add it to the actual model because I want it to be separate. So I'm going to grab that vertex right there in the center of the lens. It's actually on the back, that's fine. I'm going to go Shift S, and I'm going to pop that cursor to that selection, so the 3D cursor is now centered right there. I'm going to add another circle. Vertices are going to be 12 again. This time the radius it was 1, and that was really big earlier, so I'm going to make it a lot smaller. Let's say 0.1, and hit OK. There we go. A little small, but we can scale it up a lot easier now. We don't have to worry about the clipping on the mirror. So to scale that up, go ahead and rotate it to where it matches up with the rest of it. You can hold down Control, and it kind of rotates it, you know, in increments rather than, you know, just however you would rotate it normally. It's a little more, you know, spot on when you want to align it up with something else that's perfectly aligned. Anyways, okay, so just move that to the back, and I want to extrude it. Once, scale it up a little bit, extrude it again, scale it down some, and we'll select that, both of those, move them back just a little bit, thicken it up some, and just thicken everything up. Scale it on the y-axis. There we go. Okay, so we're getting there. Go ahead and hit Set Smooth again. Select it and Set Smooth. There we go. Okay, so that's good, but if we ever want to see through it and see his eyeballs, we're not going to be able to do that. So let me hide the original goggles and just mess with the padding now. Select everything, kind of like we did with the lens. Select everything in the middle and extrude. Scale it down. Scale it in the y-axis some. We don't want to start coming in yet. And extrude one more time. Scale it down some. Scale it on the y-axis. And let's extrude one more time. Scale the y-axis. Just hit 0. And then OK. And now delete that. Now these edges that we have, or these vertices that we have to merge together a lot closer. We can see them. Merge it at the center. Merge it at the center. And just do that around all of them. Okay. Kind of looks like a donut, doesn't it? I guess it's the same basic shape. Okay, there we go. So I tab out into normal view, and that's what we see. Not too bad. So let's kind of tweak it a little bit. Go back in edit mode, Alt-H, unhide all that, and let's select everything that we want to rotate. Actually, we want all of the padding, but not all of the lens. Is that all we want? And then these two guys right there. Okay. Let's rotate these a little towards the back. Just move them back some. I don't want to move these sides of the padding back a little bit because they're just going to start to go around his head. So a little bit here. Let's move this part in just a little bit. Okay, I think that'll work. Now, like I said, I want to sharpen the edges of the goggles, so I'm going to see if I can select this loop. Just around the whole edges around everything. Okay. Well, I had a vertex select mode. I don't want that. I just want edges. So there we go. I don't need this edge if I can select it or deselect it, I guess. Get in there. The old standby. Hit B twice, Alt, and drag it around. There we go. And I want to do the same thing on the back edge. So I want to Shift select all that. Okay. see that last edge. There it is. Okay. And there we go. Now I'm going to bevel them, and I want to hit Control W. Oops, that's wrong. That's a save. I don't want to save it yet. W, bevel. And it gives it a nice, clean edge. You can kind of adjust the softness of the edge by just dragging up and down. I want it fairly sharp, so I'm going to keep it pretty close to each other. There we go. Decent looking goggles. I'd like to add a little bit more definition around the inside of the lens, so I'm going to do that bevel again. And there we go. I'm going to go ahead and save this. Save as. Same folder as the guy we're working on. Just name it goggles. Save. Okay. Now there's one last thing that we're missing with the goggles, and that is the thing that attaches it to his head, like a string. So what I'm going to do is put my 3D cursor right there in that hole that we made on the side. Is that about right? Yep. Go to top view, and I want to add a curve. It's going to be a Bezier curve, or as the French say, Bezier. Bezier curve. Pardon my lame attempt at a French accent. I want to Shift S and selection to the cursor, and it's going to pop that what I had selected right there on the cursor. And this is a different piece than the goggles, and it doesn't have the mirror modifier on it, so I'm going to need to match this other side up with the other side of the model. As you can see, the handlebars of the Bezier curve like to do their own thing sometimes. Okay. Just scale it up, and I want to grab both of them and subdivide it, so it puts another one back here. Scale that up, move it back. Okay. And it's nice and all, it's just a line though, so we want to give it a, go into the curve and surface properties way down here, click on 3D, and we want to turn off front and back, pop out of edit mode, and want to extrude it, and then give it a bevel depth. There we go. Extrusion is a little high, 0.1 is the first increment it did, so I'm going to do, let's try 0.5, see what that looks like. 0.05 I suppose would work. There we are. Okay, so that doesn't look too shabby. We might want to, you know what I'm going to do? Got a couple of minutes left to stay on my 20-minute thing. You know, I just want to move this around. I want to extrude from it so I can go through the actual hole that we made. Scale this way down. Get this guy. Grab this handlebar, move it way up there. Just grab this. Let's try to keep it on there as close as possible. Extrude that again. And one more time. There we go. Let's give this a higher resolution in the bevel. If you go down here, you can see Bev Resol, that's Bevel Resolution. Just click on that a couple times and it'll give you a little bit better, a little bit better resolution on the curve there. And let me try some, I think, yeah, we don't want front and back. Let's see. Trying to find a way to cap this off. Can't see it right now. Well, that's not real important right now. What we can do to fix that is just move this guy over inside the other one. And just kind of rotate that. And there we go. Now, the other side. Kind of do the same thing, line that up with the side, extrude out, rotate it around, scale it down, go ahead and grab the handlebar of that one, move it way up. Okay. And extrude this one. Oops, extrude it. Go. So about right there, and extrude this one more time. Move it over to the inside. Grab the handlebars and just kind of make it fit in there a little better. How's that look? Okay, not too bad. And then when we want to put it on his head, we can just grab this and, you know, make it fit the back of his head however we need to. Awesome. Undo that. It's kind of twisted it around in it. I want it to be. There we go. Okay. File, save, goggles. And I guess while I have you here, I'll show you how to bring that into another scene. I'm just going to go File, Open the file we've been working on. Okay, there he is. Go in front view. And what I'm going to do is File, Append or Link. And I want to hit the two dots, which means it's like backing out of whatever folder you happen to be in. And it goes up, and I select my goggles there. I want the scene, and the scene again, and I'm going to load that library. You're thinking, well, where'd it go? Well, it's up here in the scene. If you see, it says scene.001 now. That's our goggles. See? Neato. Now I can select these guys, both of them together, hit spacebar, object, make links to the scene. And I want to link it to the original scene, which is just scene. So hit that. Now I can delete this scene because these goggles are now in the original scene. As you can see, we only have one scene now, so it automatically popped into that. Okay, go ahead and move those up here. If it'll let me, come on. My computer's bogging down on me for some reason. Okay. Let's turn him off of such a high. There we go. Subsurf levels. Okay, there. Well, it's not wanting to let me move these. Let's see. Let's investigate why. Okay, I don't know why it wasn't doing it in solid mode, but there we go. They're a little big now, as you can see. Scale them down some so they fit him a little better. That's about right. Let's just put him on his forehead for right now. Rotate him around. Okay, now let's get the go into wireframe view and just move that out so we can see it a little better. And scale it a little better. There we go. Now he has some goggles. So that, like I said, was a supplement to the original series. I will be going to part 14 next time you see me, and you will see the goggles in that. So good luck, and I'll see you then.